This is probably like my favorite topic to cover. Also, the most controversial all-time quarterbacks. Right off the bat, we're gonna take Tom Brady. We're gonna put him up there. If you got a problem with that, catch me outside because that's like I don't even like the guy that much, but that's where he is. Now we go to Jim Kelly here. I'd say he's historically good. Not a top 10 guy, but went to four straight Super Bowls, put up great numbers for the Bills. Same with Donovan McNabb. I might move him. He had some really good years. Actually, all right, he was a good NFL starter because he had some really good years and he went to the Super Bowl, but um, never really had that like historical like I'm one of the best ever players. Uh, he's Theismann's going to go there. Troy Aikman, top 10 guy for me. Just three Super Bowls in his time, was an unbelievable player. Uh, Played a long time. Was one of the most sought after draft picks ever. Definitely top 10. Dan Fouts, he was a good NFL starter. Never really made that big jump. Fran Tarkenton was a good NFL starter. Never really made that jump. Drew Bledsoe, same with him. Good NFL starter. Wasn't like a super legit guy, in my opinion. Joe Montana, top five quarterback. And before Brady like went on his second run, where he won the rest of the Super Bowls to get to seven, he was my number one. So unbelievable talent, just not in the same conversation as a guy like Tom Brady. Um, Arch Manning, he played with really bad rosters, but he was a good quarterback. Nothing more than a good starter, in my opinion. As was Plunkett, just never more than a good NFL starter. Um, Cam Newton was a good NFL starter. He never made that jump. He was really close to making that jump in that Super Bowl year, but after that he got riddled and he got older. But he was really close. He was really close. Brett Favre, top 10 guy for me. Just really solid player. He might even be in that top five. I might have to move him, but like he just the plays that he would make, the run that he went on, he should have won more than one Super Bowl. But yeah, unbelievable talent. Matt Ryan, it's tough. I'm gonna put him right there for right now, but tough. Joe Flacco right there, just couldn't really build off that Super Bowl that he won. Trent Dilfer's in that same category. Just couldn't really build. Couldn't really build off the Super Bowl that he won. Steve Young, historically good. Not quite top 10, but really good quarterback, really good player. Aaron Rodgers is in my top five. Just, the talent that he has, and he had some of the throws I've seen him make have been like the most unbelievable throws I've ever seen. The arm talent, the escapability, some of the long, deep Hail Mary passes that he's converted have just been unbelievable. So that's why I got to put him there. Um, as of right now, I'm not ready to say Russell Wilson's historically good. Obviously there's more to be told in his career. But, if you look at his numbers right off the bat, he's only won one Super Bowl. He's played in two. He's had some really good years, but nothing makes me think that, like, in 50 years from now, we'd say he was nothing more than a starter, a Super Bowl champ. But, like, to be historically good, you got to be really good. That's why Phillip Rivers was a good NFL starter, a remembered NFL starter. Johnny Unitas, he's top 10 quarterback of all time. Top 10 quarterback of all time. He was, he is part of the reason the NFL even got going. One of the first televised NFL games of all time. He was in. He starred. Didn't really get the most Super Bowls, but just his impact. He had every record in the postmodern era. He was just a heck of a player. Kurt Warner's historically good. Greatest show on turf, just his story, all of it, historically good guy. So is Drew Brees. Doesn't quite crack my top 10, but an historically good talent that will be remembered in that category. Bart Starr, once again, historically good. First two Super Bowls went to him, and I don't want to hear about the stats back then were different because obviously they were. You can't compare stats from the 1960s to that of the 2020s. You just can't. But still, the impact he had on the game was unbelievable. Terry Bradshaw, it's tough with him. I think he gets the nod in my top 10. Just, 4 Super Bowls, heck of a quarterback. Warren Moon was a really good quarterback, but Warren Moon, I think he's just in the same category of a guy like Phillip Rivers, though. To be in this category, you have to be different. Randall Cunningham in this category was a really good player, but just not a historically great player, as is Phil Simms in this category. McNair's in this category. Joe Namath, you could say he's historically good. Actually, if you really do look at his stats, he only won one. I'm going to put Namath right there. Well, if we're looking at history, though, his name still lingers. So that's why he's going to get there. Boomer Esiason, good NFL starter, got his team to the Super Bowl. It's about where he places. Kenny Stabler, I think we could say historically good. He was in Oakland, some of the things he did were really great. Patrick Mahomes, definitely a top 5 guy right now. If you look at his stats already, he's on pace with Brady, and he might be even doing better. He's already got 2 Super Bowls. His numbers are ridiculous. Obviously, there's NFL things are inflated, but he's just in that category for me. As is Peyton Manning. We'll just get this over with now to complete the top 5. Unbelievable career. The biggest knock on his career is that he didn't really win more Super Bowls. He won 2, but I really only counted as 1 just because the only time he carried his team was the one. The other one was, because of the great defense, he only played a quarter of the year. But without that knock, if he would have won 3 Super Bowls, it could be a different conversation. But definitely a top 5 quarterback historically. Stafford's in that good starter category. Doug Williams, great player, but he's in that category. Dan Marino, top 10 player, easily. If you look at the highlight, he only went to 1 Super Bowl, but if you look at the highlights of this guy could do things that were ridiculous. He never had the right roster around him. The one year that he probably did have the really good roster around him, they got upset in the postseason, but just, unreal talent. And Otto Graham, I think you could say historically good. A lot of championships in the pre-Super Bowl era. Was a really good quarterback. So John Elway, I think I got to put him in this category, and I think I got to move somebody down because John Elway was that good. It's going to be crazy. But, if I had to move somebody down from the top 10, it would have to be him. And he's right there, Aikman. He's at number 11. Big Ben, you could say he's historically good, and I wouldn't have a problem with it, but he's going to go right there for me. Never made that big elevation, in my opinion. Roger Staubach, historically good. And then I think Joe Theismann, good NFL starter. The rest of the people aren't really relevant to this list, in my opinion. They don't really have relevance. Yeah. So pretty much top 10 players ever, in my opinion. Tom Brady's the best. These guys right here round out the top 5. Here's my top 10. If you want, if you comment down below, if you let me know, I'll do a video about each of these players in more depth of why they're in my top 10. I'll probably include Aikman because he's that close. These are people that are historically good. They're going to be remembered. Didn't quite make the top 10, but, could be in that category. And these are the good NFL starters that historically will be remembered, as good NFL starters, not maybe in the top like 20 category, but still really good quarterbacks in their prime.